I believe we are alive.
Here we are.
I believe we are alive. Yep, we're
One
live.
moment. I just need to. How do I open up chat? Kelsey?
You know what we need? I know we're already live. I just want to talk about this out loud real fast. We need to
Uh huh.
have like a like a screen that doesn't show our faces at first. And so we can say like, starting live or giving us extra time to prepare so that way if we're not actually ready, we can at least be live.
Like I have on mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelsey, take me to chat.
Take me to chat.
Hmm. This one? Where's it at? Is it because it's not full? It's reported as.
All right, you ready to start?
It's fine. I'll just have chat up on
We're
my phone.
clearly professionals at this.
Sorry.
All right.
Um.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Dallas. I'm here with my good friend Marcus, and we are
Hello.
Idiots Talking Candidly. We do a podcast every other Thursday, and we learn you some things because we are professionals about talking about anything. My friend, what are we talking about
Absolutely.
today?
Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things,
Ooh.
horror and everything around it. Horror movies, horror games, horror stories, creepy pastas. One of our newer obsessions, SCPs. Um,
One of my obsessions, that is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like I'm into it too, but like, I'm not as deep into it as you are. You really are a lore master, I would say.
I
And
wouldn't classify myself as a lore master, but I definitely delve deep into SCP.
yeah, I, I think you're a lore master to me, but whatever. Um, I guess to kick us off, I want to start with like the base. Oh, my M&M. Oh, sorry.
This
I want to
man's
start with
eating
like
on
the.
stream.
I just watched you eat a fry. You fuck. Listen, my where I got my feet wet with horror was with my dad.
Okay.
He would force my poor young eyes. I guess it's what developed my liking for him later. You kind of have to develop a taste for him at first, but he would force my young eyes to watch horror movies when I was a little kid, and
Good old horror
it's where I
movies.
actually got like a lot of my favorite horror movies, like classics like The Grudge or like The Ring, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I watched Saw when it was like first came out,
Do you
and
remember I think it was like an Exorcist movie, I think, had something to do with like a
uh-huh.
tree, right? That's
Yeah,
all that's
you're
all I
talking about The
remember.
Conjuring.
No, it wasn't The Conjuring. This was like years ago. Um some like scary movie, and it had to do with like a tree, and there was a girl that died. And I remember my parents and a bunch of their friends came over to watch this movie, and I tried to leave my bedroom, and they're like, no, you have to stay inside of your bedroom. And I'm like, okay.
It was a tree.
Yeah, it's something
Are you
with the
sure it
tree.
wasn't a well?
No, it wasn't a well, because there was like a tree over by a pond in my old neighborhood. And I used to think, like, oh, that's where they filmed it, because I looked over and I saw the tree during the movie. It was
That
like
would
where
make
the
you.
girl died or something. I don't know. I don't know what movie it was, but I apparently wasn't allowed to watch it.
I know what you're talking about, and I thought it was The Conjuring because there was like a part in The Conjuring where some dude hung themselves or they got hung on a tree. I don't know. I watched too many to know what the movie's called, but those are like some of my favorites. I really liked the ones that I personally found like to be my favorite that I've watched on my own would be like VHS. I really I
Oh.
have like a thing, like an obsession for um what are they called? The ones where it's like real but not real. You know what I'm saying? Like with the
Like,
camcorder and everything.
yeah,
There's a name for the genre.
like
I forget what
Paranormal
the fuck it's
Activity,
called.
kind of.
Yeah, like those things where it's like,
Like
like
Blair Witch
Blair Witch
Project.
Project.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
hmm I like fucking love
So when you said
those movies.
VHS, I like had an attack for a second because I thought you meant the VHS movie. You
Yeah,
remember,
no,
like
I
on
mean the
Netflix, like
VHS movie.
VHS 1 and 2, and I think there's a third one. That
That's what
shit
I'm talking about.
scared me when I was younger. I showed you and Jerry
That's
that
what I'm
shit.
talking about. Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of my favorite fucking horror movies because that
ABC's of
shit.
Death.
I liked ABCs of Death. Now that one was like to me, it was more gore than like
Scary.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Now it had its moments because it's like A and then B and then C and it goes through like the whole alphabet of like different, what was it, different like countries doing their horror.
Yeah, the dude had hired a bunch of people and they drew like a letter A through Z, and he just had the 26 letters.
Mm.
And it was just people from different countries. He was like, okay, you pick the letter B, so now you have to make like a short horror film with the letter B. And
Yeah, wasn't Johnny Knoxville one of them?
I think so.
Or was that the second ABCs of Death? It was one of them that we
It was
watched.
one of them, yeah.
But
That was a good.
it is
Damn, I want to rewatch that now.
VHS. It was probably to me like one of the scariest I've seen because like nothing scares me more than something that like it seems real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can sit down and I can watch like The Grudge, right? And I'm like, okay, this is spooky, and I'll probably jump a couple times, but I'm like, this is like cinematography. This is like
Right.
people are,
There's a cameraman sitting
camera.
there.
But when the person's like, oh, like in what's that fucking movie? Cloverfield, where that big monster's like terrorizing the fucking city, and you only see
Yes.
glimpses of it because they're like hiding in buildings and shit to try to get away from this thing.
Damn, there was
That shit scares me, like, and I love it.
Okay, there was another horror movie getting on this topic. It was, I don't remember what it was called. It was a woman and she got, what is it, Quarantine? Was that a movie called Quarantine?
Yes, Quarantine, and like at the end, she gets like dragged away from one of the infected people.
Yes.
Yep, that movie was scary as shit
That
too.
movie was freaky. He had like
Yeah.
the big tall guy and he had like the fireman axe or whatever because they like
Mhm.
locked them in that house. Dude, that was freaky. That scared me.
Yeah.
I had nightmares about that. I was like, what if they come and like lock me in my house with monsters?
And you can't get out, and there's like these fucking creatures. They're just wanting to fucking kill you. I mean, yeah, like that shit definitely freaks me out. I think. Are we good? Sorry, can you hear that? No. Okay. Cool. My mic's doing its job.
It's doing fine on my end.
No, like I'm saying, could you hear like my son?
Oh, no.
Okay, he's screaming. He's going, ah! Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, but fuck, I just lost my train of thought because he started yelling.
A lot of
That
good
one movie.
I think that's what makes a horror movie, kind of like what you were saying earlier. I think that's what makes a horror movie good, is the fact that, or not good, but rather more scary, is the fact that it seems more realistic. You don't have like a camera person standing in a dark corridor, taking the video. Like, yeah, that's scary because you think that you're there, but I think it makes it more terrifying, like seeing like, oh, the VHS and the recording, and you're like, oh my god, this person was like actually recording this.
Yeah, and you're like, that thing's out there.
Creepier.
Yeah. It kind of like fools your brain. I don't know, like it gives me like, like I love that shit.
See, I would argue, this is kind of like a different topic, but I would argue for horror movies, I think the older ones are a little bit more scary than the newer ones, just for the fact that if you think about it, right, like everything now is either CGI'd or I don't want to say like animated because I feel like that's kind of the same thing as CGI'd.
It's CGI.
Yeah,
it's
now
CGI
is
or just like,
and it looks like realistic, right? Like you see somebody get their throat slit and you're like, holy shit, that looks scary. but you
Yeah.
can tell like, oh, it's fake blood or whatever. Back in the day when you had the horror, like the when Jeremy stayed up with me one night and we watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And he's doing the like in the doorway, and he hits this girl or this guy in the back of the head. Like
With a hammer?
something about that looked so realistic, like it shook
Yeah.
me. And I was like 16, 17 at the time. Like I was shook from that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I think they actually met a cannibal, and this cannibal actually just hit somebody in the back of the head with a
Fucking
hammer.
smoked him.
Yeah, and the sound was so realistic because nowadays you have all the sound effects and everything. Dude, it sounded like what you would think a hammer would sound like smashing into the back of somebody's head.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So back in the day, I think the reason why some people like you might think it's more scary is because they were like a lot more. I think they were a lot more creative back in the day in terms of like sound effects and VFX, like visual effects, because they had to do like almost everything by like makeup.
If you wanted to see it, you had to create it. You couldn't just edit it in later on.
Yeah, and they would have it like they would try to like replicate something to make it look as real as possible, and it will actually be on set. It's not, computer generated after in post. It's like actually there. Right? Now, like a lot of times they get around it looking computer generated by like mocapping scenes. So like the monster's actually a dude in a fucking suit with like bunch of balls taped all over it. So it actually looks like real movement.
Yeah.
And it's not like super obvious that it's CGI. But I would argue that like I think their ability to and like the technology that we have now to make shit more realistic looking, there's a lot of movies out there that I find a lot more freaky, like new ones. Like for example, one of my favorite new horror films, A Quiet Place.
I still haven't seen that.
Dude, it is so fucking
I've not
good.
Even finished
It, like,
Bird Box.
I'm telling you right now, both those are really fucking good horror movies, and you need to watch them. But on A Quiet Place, it was like, it's directed by John Krasinski, the guy from The Office, Jim.
Yeah.
And he also plays as one of the lead roles, the dad. It's not much of a spoiler because you see it in the trailer, but
spoilers.
In the first like 5-10 minutes, the dude's kid gets fucking yeeted and taken by one of these monsters and insta killed. A kid.
I didn't
gets
know that.
fucked. Yeah, like, well, if you watch the trailer, it's like one of the first things that shows up. He's like walking around and he has like this little rocket ship. He's like, and he presses a button on it and it goes, shoom, shoom. It starts making like rocket noises. And they're like right there. And they're like, no. And like freaking the fuck out. And the monster just goes, and he's gone. And he's fucking gone. And I'm just like, holy shit.
You know
like
what's
this
something
movie.
That's kind of creeped me out? So you said that like the newer stuff like scares you more, right? Or some of the newer movies at least.
Yeah.
I remember an episode of Supernatural and they were like fighting, I don't remember what it was. It was like a witch or some like undead female spirit or whatever. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason the CGI dude, focus. The CGI that they decided to use for that witch or whatever it was, it was so fake that it was creepy. I don't know how to explain it. Like you could tell like, okay, they added that in after the fact, but that just made it like more creepy. It's kind of the same effect that I get like if you watch the old school not that King Kong is scary, but like you watch the new like Peter Jackson's or even the new one that's about to come out, King Kong, and it looks realistic. But then you go back to the old days and it's either a dude in a gorilla costume or B, it's like the stop motion, like the claymation. That kind of is creepy too.
Stop motion freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm sorry, like I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Tim Burton films. I think they're fantastic, but one of the most horrifying shit to watch as a young child is Coraline. Yeah. That movie shook me to its core. It was so like the button eyes and shit. It freaked me the fuck out. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a kid movie. Just like Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff, and those kind of movies, like there's a there's a bunch of horror like short like artistic horror films on YouTube And there's a few
Ooh,
of them
like
that are stop
Don't Hug Me,
motion.
I'm Scared.
Okay, like don't hug me, I'm scared. That one's like psychological horror, but there's this one that I watch where there's like this girl and her like it's like a little girl, she's like asleep in her bed, and there's like this like witch like outside, and it's stop motion. And it's like watching her and she's like hiding, and then all of a sudden it like pans and it shows like it's facing towards her and it's like her open door,
Hmm.
and she's sitting there and she's hiding underneath her blanket. It's all stop motion and shit, and the witch is like down the fucking hallway, and it's like moving like boom, 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 and it gets like right at the doorway, and she like throws the blanket over her head, and it gets in the fucking room, and
Oh.
I'm just like, fuck, like it's so scary to me. I don't know why that shit
So
freaks me the fuck out.
another stop motion thing that's it's not supposed to be scary. It's just kind of supposed to. I think it's supposed to be like cool and edgy. Um, I don't remember what song it played. I think it was a Lil Peep or a Juice World song that played over it. But it was, or maybe I'm just crazy. Um, it was the Simpsons claymation thing where the burglars like
Uh-huh.
break into the house. Have you seen that one?
Oh, and they like shoot them and like fucking.
Like they
Is
like
that the one?
decapitate the baby
Yeah, and it's
Maggie,
super
and
like
it's like really
gruesome.
graphic. For whatever
Yeah,
reason, like that scared me, and I know
that
it's
scared me
like
too.
clay and in like stop motion kind of, but it's just something about that like was didn't sit right with my stomach. I'm just like, ee, like that's ugh.
Mean, like that shit to me is freaky anyway. I think the only time that you can get it to where like stop motion isn't freaky is like if you're watching fucking like Flushed Away or some bullshit like that. I don't know like who makes those movies. I know
What
it's
the
like a
heck's
certain
flushed
director.
away?
You know what I'm talking about? Like like that sheep movie with the guy and he's fuck what's his name? Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture. I'll show you a picture. You'll know what I'm talking about. Hold on. I'll show it to the camera too.
Sheep
Here,
movie?
okay, hold
No
on.
idea what you're talking about, buddy.
You
Never heard
do,
of a
and it's
sheep
stop
movie.
motion.
My food's gonna be cold.
Well, I don't know if this one's fucking stop motion. This one looks hella animated. Is Flushed Away stop motion?
I don't even believe it's a real movie. Ooh, excuse me. While we're waiting for him,
That isn't stop
we
motion. I'm
have
retarded. But
ideas for our next episode to hopefully have a guest, so you're not just seeing our two fat heads the entire time. You can see a third fat head. Won't
this is
spoil
true.
anything yet, but we've got something cooking.
Hopefully a fourth fat head too.
3 or 4
We'll see.
fat heads.
Yeah, we'll see. Um, no, I was wrong. Flushed Away is not stop motion, but there is like like it's like British stop motion like clay films, and there's like a dude and there's like sheep.
Like Run, Chicken Run, or Chicken Run, or whatever it's called.
Chicken. It's like the same people who made Chicken Run and Flushed Away, but they did stop motion before, and I don't remember what the fuck it's called, and it's bothering me. But anyway, on to horror shit.
Creepy
Do you
pastas.
watch? Well, before I start that, I have one thing I want to touch on. Because creepypasta is a whole can of worms I want to get into. But do you watch any horror series other than because you watch Supernatural? I guess like that's kind of scary.
I would say it's kind of horror, but it's mainly like drama series.
Drama and action.
The only thing I could think of that I would watch that would be horror would either be like The Walking Dead or Black Mirror, maybe. I don't know if Black Mirror would be considered horror either.
Black Mirror to me is more of like a psychological suspense.
Yeah.
Because like I guess you can call it horror. It's pretty like it wigs you out in some spots, but it's more like it fucks with you. I think like have you ever seen like any of the Haunting series, like The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor? That shit's
Nope.
scary. That's some good ass
I
fucking.
watched Ghost Hunters when I was a kid.
I mean, that's more like reality TV,
I
honestly.
okay, what do you when you say that you watch horror like series, what do you mean?
I mean, like the Haunting series. It's like a literally like a movie kind of series where it's like episodic and like there's like a story behind it and
Okay.
there's like something going on in this like certain house. Like the Haunting of Hill House. I
Would you
watched the
say
whole Haunting of
Goosebumps?
Hill House. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could call Goosebumps horror. I mean, it's some form of horror, but it's kind of like that cheesy slapstick horror from like the 80s,
Yeah.
it's still like it could still be frightening to some kids. I wouldn't be scared of Goosebumps today. I mean, I'm sure there's some Goosebumps that would wig me out because some of it's kind of fucking weird as fuck.
Like the one where
Um,
the girl gets the Halloween mask stuck on her head. That creeped me out as a kid. That still kind of creeps me out now.
I mean, Stranger Things would be considered a horror.
Yeah, I haven't finished Stranger Things. I have not even seen all of the first season.
Bro, you crazy. Like all these like iconic like pop shows, you're just like, I've never seen Bird Box, bro. Never finished it. I watched part of it. It's a movie, dude. How do you watch part of a movie?
Okay, you want me to tell you why? Because this is personal information and I don't care. I'm watching Bird Box with Jessica at our old apartment. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a cool movie. And then I see MGK's in it, and I'm just like, okay, this movie's kind of whack because they got MGK to do a role. But sure, I'll just keep watching it because fuck MGK. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this movie, da 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 da, it's going on. Next thing I know, bam, phone call. Oh, hello. It's fucking Mike from Kroger. And he's like, haha, I just quit. I just walked out. And I was like, huh? So then me and Jessica drove to Kroger and dealt with Kroger BS when Mike walked out. Jessica went back home and watched the movie, and I'm just like, I'm gonna play video games.
Damn, bro. I mean, MGK dies. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, thank fucking God. Fuck that guy.
Anyway, um, no, but that was a good ass movie, and all
Shout
these
out
like
to
shows
Mike.
like I watch, but all these shows that I watch like they were good ass shows. I
Yeah,
think you should watch them. You should give them a shot, like the Haunting series. If you're into like supernatural shit, not like supernatural as in like, oh,
because I
like
do,
Sam and
Jessica.
Dean. But was Jessica in chat?
Yeah, she said, how do you remember any of this? Because I
She
got a
sounds
great memory, dog.
talented.
My memory's so good, I could tell you what I ordered 2 days ago on my truck. I could tell Marcus some
Well,
shit about high school that he probably don't even remember.
bro, my memory is dog shit. So you probably don't even want to try asking me things from high school. I barely even remember what I had for lunch today. I think it
I
was
mean, I
Taco
don't
Bell.
remember important things. Dude, I've got codes, I got lyrics, I've got like buttons mapped out for when I play games. I think you're making it up. What do you mean? You don't remember that? How do you not remember that? She's crazy. Okay, call me a liar. All right, Banner in the chat.
Elf, you heard her. You heard him.
You heard her.
Ban him. Banner. Damn it. I can't get my
Can we
ones
talk
right.
about
What the
SCPs
fuck?
now? I want to get not SCPs. Yes,
Creepypasta.
creepypastas. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So I have a description for what creepypastas are. I pulled it up
Yes.
so I don't get it wrong. Creepypasta, which is a play on copy pasta. It's like copy pasta, copy paste.
Yeah.
They were originally just scary stories, right? And they didn't
Yeah.
actually even have like any pictures or videos with them. They were just like text chats, right? And they
Yeah.
originated in like 2008. And they were originally just like short, what is it called?
Like short horror stories.
Short, eerie stories, yeah. And they didn't even all have to be like scary, more just eerie. Like, have you ever like seen that one, like a one sentence horror story, and it's like the last man on earth heard a knock at the door. That's
Yeah,
not
like the two
scary.
sentence horror
That's just
stories.
eerie.
Yeah.
They were kind
Yeah.
of like that. But they got famous because YouTubers would like start combining pictures with them or even create new creepypastas with pictures and then
Tellers.
like
The storyteller YouTubers.
right, well, even before the storyteller YouTubers, this is just like on the forums. They would connect pictures with them like Jeff the Killer. I don't think Jeff the Killer originally had like a picture with him. And then the storyteller YouTubers, the one that comes to my mind is Mr. Creepypasta because that's who I used to watch.
Yeah.
He would
Same.
have like videos playing in the background.
Yeah.
But they creepypastas are essentially just like short horror films or really horror stories, and they don't necessarily need to have a part 1, part 2, part 3. They don't necessarily need to even have an ending. They can end on cliffhangers, but they're just things to kind of like creep you out, make you think like, whoa, is that real? Because some of them sound really real. The ones that came to my mind, well, first of all, I didn't know Herobrine was a creepypasta. as I was looking
Yes.
it up and taking my notes and shit, Herobrine's a creepypasta. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's where
I
you
thought
came
Herobrine
from.
was just something that a bunch of little kids made up for Minecraft. Because I remember back in the day playing Minecraft and freaking out because I heard stories of Herobrine. I just thought it was
Yeah,
part of
that's
the
where you
Minecraft
heard of
community.
creepypastas.
But you got Herobrine, which, for those of you who don't know, it's just like the alternate version of Steve that haunts you in your single-player worlds. Slenderman, which I knew Slenderman was a creepypasta. He's one of the first ones that I watched or learned about. You've got The Rake, which is a really creepy one. That's like that. It's not like a dog thing. It's like that humanoid thing that watches over people.
Yeah, and it's got like dagger arms.
Yeah, and it like hunts and it screams like a human or something, I think, to get your attention. You've got the Russian sleep experiment, which I didn't know was a creepypasta, and actually we were talking about it like last year, and you thought that it was real, if I'm not
I
mistaken,
thought it
right?
was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like an actual thing that happened, and I'm like, what the fuck? Some
Yes,
dude got all of his
Stefan,
like
you're
senses
right.
taken away.
I was just about to say Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is one of them. He's like this creepy dude with a fucked up face. And then my favorite one is Squidward's Suicide, which is like
That one
a
was
creepy ass supposed SpongeBob episode that happens, and Squidward like offs himself on it.
I have some to add if that's the only ones you can think of off the top of your head.
Yeah, I mean those are the only ones that I really like paid attention to and liked back in the day.
There's one called Been Drowned. I don't know if you ever heard that one
Nope.
or read that one. It's like, if I remember correctly, it's essentially like there's a copy of like the Ocarina of Time that's like corrupted, and it has like the soul of a child who drowned like attached to it. And so when you launch the game, like some weird shit fucking happens, and like Link has like this like weird like realistic looking face, and it's like supposed to be the kid's face, and like creepy shit happens when you play through the game.
You know what that kind of makes me think of? Sorry to interrupt. It makes me think of Missing No from Pokemon. That corrupted Pokemon that you could like capture and it would break the game. It's weird.
Yeah. That one and the Devil Game. That's like one of my favorites, and my all-time favorite is probably the Thing That Stalks the Fields.
What is that?
You've never heard The Thing That Stalks the Fields?
No,
That
the
fucking
only
thing
ones that I've
scares
ever
the
heard of
shit
are
out
the
of me.
ones that I talked about.
All right, well, The Thing That Stalks the Fields, spoiler alert. It essentially is about this guy. Okay, he wakes up to like some racket in the middle of the night. He's on a farm. Okay, he's like out in fucking BFE, bumfuck Egypt, and he goes out and he sees that his horses were messily decapitated.
Okay.
And he's like, what the fuck? So he stays out that night, and he like, actually, no. I messed up. I messed up. Okay, so he had his hay bales, and something was moving his hay bales around. So he put them back, and then his horses got messily decapitated. So he like sat out one night
This sounds
to
familiar.
see if he could, yeah, so see if he can like catch this thing that's killing his animals and moving his giant ass hay bales around. And he's sitting out with a gun, and he like seen it like off in the distance or something like that, and he was like scared. He was like, fuck. Well, it was moving the hay bales around because it was like making a perimeter around his property, and if you were to leave that perimeter, he would die. He finds this out because a mail truck is coming through, and he's like, finally, someone can help me. Someone can help me. And he goes out to greet this mail truck, and as he like opens his door, he sees the thing, and it's like a massive like demon looking creature, and it's like all spindly with like long gangly arms, and it like rips the mailman out of his thing, shreds his truck, and rips the mailman in half and kills him.
So this dude's like stuck on his property.
He's trapped in his property. He can't leave or it'll kill him. Yeah, it's a creepypasta. It's one of my favorites. And then the Devil
You might
Game.
have told me that one before.
Yeah. I love that creepypasta. And then the Devil Game. Have you heard the Devil Game?
Isn't that where you like use the teddy bear and you put like the toenail clipping in it?
That one. That's my other favorite one. That's the
Like how to summon a demon or something.
No, that's like hide and seek, but by
Yes,
yourself.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
forget
yeah.
what that's called. That one was scary as shit too. But
Do you
the
remember
devil
when we
game,
wanted to try that, by the way?
yeah,
There was like
it's
a
like
point in time we wanted to try it.
a Japanese like summoning ritual, and you like use like sake and rice and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the devil game is how you can summon Satan, and you have to like go into like a church or was it a church? It's a church. You go into a church and you have to like bring a bunch of stuff. You have to go on like sanctified grounds, so it's like harder for him to get out. And you use like a mirror and you start like you make like a ritual summoning circle and
Okay.
you do like the seance or whatever. And he comes to you in a reflection and he can present himself however he wants, but you have to look at him. You have to look at him. You can't look away or he can get out and take you. And you can ask him for whatever you want. And if he asks you to solve like riddles, you have to be careful because if you fuck up, then he gets to do what he wants. It's some crazy shit. I haven't read these things in ages. It's been since like middle school freshman year, but
Yeah. The
that shit
only
was like,
recent creepypastas I've been paying attention to, and we kind of talked about this a little bit in the beginning, was like SCPs, which I don't know if you would consider those creepypastas or not. I think you would, but it's just like its own alternate reality of creepypastas.
I think it became its own thing very quickly when it
Mm-hmm.
became like a community where they would like add SCPs over time, and there would be like a
Yeah.
board to be like, this one's okay, this one's not. You know, we're gonna have this one, we're gonna have this one, and there's like now like a list and like a whole like massive lore,
Yeah, there's like
and like its
5,000.
own video game.
No, there's 9,000 and something.
Yeah, there's a shit ton, and it's
A
because people
lot.
keep adding them, and you know, some of them are like really stupid, and some of them are like really cool and scary. Um, but yeah, I would say it's like kind of like creepypasta. It maybe started as a creepypasta, but it definitely became its own thing very quickly. Um, but yeah,
Oh, God. Creepy shit.
yeah. I mean, what would you say? What's your favorite SCP?
Okay. This is going to be kind of a long explanation because I knew you were going to ask this, and so I took notes on it. So, first of all, in case you don't know what SCPs are, SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's a containment procedure website. It's a website um, that acts as though it's a secret facility, and they give you different containment procedures with pictures and images and very, very good descriptions. Like, for instance, it'll say like SCP-173, right? You click on
Yeah.
that and it'll show you a picture of what it is, and it'll give you a long description of, okay, this is how you contain this anomaly. If it escapes, these are the procedures you go through. If
Mm-hmm.
it's locked up, it'll give you like, okay, only level 4 personnel can see this. Only so-and-so doctor can see this. And it just kind of makes it seem more realistic. I mean, obviously they're fake, but when you have so much backstory and so much like information put into them, they sound real. Well, on the website, if you click on SCP-001, which is the first SCP, it's supposedly the most powerful SCP because not all of them are evil, not all of them are bad, not all of them are good, not all of them are even like people, like living things. Some of them can just be inanimate objects. But 001 is it's essentially so powerful that they even lie to the Foundation members about which one is the true SCP-001. So if you Google SCP-001 or if you get on their wiki page, it'll give you like 4 different ones. And the only ones that I'm going to talk about, because there's more than 4, it's like 10, 15 of them. The only ones that I wrote down because they're kind of the cooler ones, it's either it's a godlike creature that was found in the 1700s, and he's like an angel, right? Like a big ass archangel with wings and a sword. And if you go near him, he evaporates you instantly, which means if you know about him, you're dead. But if you know about him and you go there, before he evaporates you, you can ask him any question, right? You can say, hey, da da da. He'll answer you, and then you get evaporated. So technically, nobody should know that he exists. But if you stumble upon him, you get any answer you want, and he evaporates you. The other one that it could be is there's a path. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. There's a path, and it's just like a normal hill. You go up it clockwise. Everything's fine. It's just a normal hill. But as soon as you go counterclockwise, it goes on forever. And it's almost like the infinite staircase one that they have. Except this one is like out in the open, so you can't contain it. Because if you go onto the hill, you're now stuck in the loop. So it's essentially just a path that goes on forever. And they say that that path is the original anomaly that kind of broke physics and spawned the other SCPs. The only other two that I wrote down would be a red button that was given to like some president back in the 1600s, or no, 1700s. We didn't have presidents in the 1600s. And it's a red button, and if you press the red button, it'll destroy the world, right? It'll destroy the entirety of the universe. And if you see the button, you are compelled to press that button. And if you are given a fake button, if you're shown the button and then they give you a fake button, you're stuck in a purgatory of always pressing that button because you think you're pressing the real red button. And the kind of like funny thing about it is if you get on the wiki, it says like if you see the button and you know about the button, you want to press it. So in the chat logs, it'll be like the button needs to be contained. And then there's a little word below it and it's got like a line through it as though somebody's like scratched it out. And it's like, no, you don't. You want to let everybody touch the button. And then there's another one and it's like, oh, the button is no good. It'll destroy the world. And then there's another like sentence with a line through it. And it's like, no, if you press the button, everybody will be happy. So it's like the button is telling these people, no, the button's good. And since you know about the button, you're like, oh, the button is good. And then they have to remove you. Just stupid stuff like that. The last one, and it's the most mind-fucked one ever, it's that the Foundation itself is the first SCP. So the SCP Wiki, all of the SCP Foundation, all of the stuff, all of it is an SCP. So the website that we're getting on, the fact that we know about it means that we need to be contained because it's an SCP, which is kind of like a creepy and crazy one to think about. But yeah, that's kind of my favorite one. And it's my favorite one. I know it was kind of like a long tangent. It's my favorite one because it's not necessarily like confirmed to be a specific one. It's kind of open to interpretation. I don't know. I'm a nerd for this subject,
dope.
by the way.
I mean,
if you couldn't tell.
Mine are pretty basic. You mentioned mine a second ago, my favorite one, which is the never-ending staircase. Because that shit just sounds like it'd get like really scary. Because that isn't it like the story is like it gets worse and worse as you get further and further down.
Yeah, you hear voices calling for you, and you see.
Yeah, and you can't go back up.
You can't go back up. So, if me and you were standing on the staircase, right? They had to build the foundation around it. Because you can walk around the staircase if you want to. If I was standing up and you go down, I would see you disappear into darkness. And you might only go down one flight of stairs. But if you go up 6 or 7 flights, you'd never see me again. I'd never see you again. You just disappear into the darkness. And if we went down together, I don't actually know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why I said that. I don't know what would happen if we both went in there. We'd probably both be fucked.
Yeah, that's what I imagine it'd be like, because like it just like goes into darkness, and as you get into the darkness, you turn around and it's just like stairs.
Yeah,
and you can't go back. You can't go back up, and then you just hear people calling for you at the bottom. You're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Which would be really freaky, and you'd start running upwards, and you're gonna get nowhere.
Yeah, and then SCP. Mine are just basic ass ones. SCP-96. Shy Guy.
Shy Guy, yeah.
Yeah. Shy Guy's my other favorite one. It reminds me of like shit I'm scared of. I hate like gray humanoid figures.
Yeah.
That like have like gangly arms. Freaks me out.
And what about the fact about him that if you see him, he immediately knows where you are and he's determined to get to you.
Yeah, yeah, and he's crying the whole way there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like screaming
There's
at the top of his lungs.
there's a story that goes with it on one of the articles. They're talking about how they submerged a dude like 148 meters below water in a
Yeah,
steel and titanium box, and
mhm,
they showed him a picture of Shy Guy.
yeah,
And Shy Guy was in the SCP facility. Now, as long as you don't touch him, or not really touch him, but look at him, he's fine. He'll just hold his hand in his face in his hands and cry, and he'll be
yeah,
compliant. He'll listen to you. You can tug on him. He'll go wherever you want to go, so they can lock him up. But as soon as that dude saw the picture of him, he immediately bolted through the entire facility, started running to the ocean, dove straight down like 100 and fucking however many meters it was under the water, broke through the wall, and then killed the dude. And then was completely
yeah,
fine. After he killed him, he starts crying again, and then they had to like fucking bring him back up somehow. Some crazy stuff
yeah,
like that. And it's like,
yeah,
you know, it's fake. Like, these things could never be true, because if you had something like that that existed, somebody would be bound to see that. But
yeah,
what kind of creeps me out about it, obviously I don't actually think this, but sometimes I'll look at like an old photo, or like you know, like you go to like a doctor's office and they've got like those really eerie paintings of like a forest.
yeah.
I'm afraid that I'm going to look at a painting of a forest and I'll just see like Shy Guy in the background, and then I'm like, "Oh, I'm fucked." This is how I die.
Someone has a painting of SCP-96, and now he's coming to get you.
Exactly.
Shit. No, but those are like my favorite SCPs,
Yeah.
and
See,
yeah.
I'm not, I know we've been talking about like horror movies. I enjoy horror videos more than horror movies, because I haven't really seen a whole lot of horror movies. I mainly get my enjoyment of horror from horror video games, horror YouTube videos, creepy pastas, you know, SCP stuff like that. I don't really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to watch like Paranormal Activity, things like that, but like, I don't know. I don't really like watching movies. If I'm watching something, I want to just like watch like a quick 20-minute video, not something that's 4 hours. Unless it's the Avengers, then yes.
I mean, like I like all of them. I enjoy all of them, and I like the fact that I'm getting more into like series, like horror series, like we
Mm-hmm.
talked about earlier, because like I don't have to donate 2 hours to a movie, you know, and then like it leaves stuff to be desired. If you watch a movie, you're like, ah, it's over, all done now, and it was either good, and then like a series though, it's just like it leaves you wanting more every time. That's
Sure.
what they're so good at, especially like on Netflix, how they can just like make a series and they're like, this series may suck ass, but at the end of it, you're gonna want to watch the next episode. I promise.
Yeah.
No, not saying that they're, the Haunting series sucks ass or Stranger Things sucks ass. I love both of those shows equally, but um, that's just a thing Netflix does. They're really good at making series that are bingeable and that you want. It leaves you craving the next episode,
Yeah.
especially when it's readily available.
How do you feel about playing like horror video games? Because we've been talking about things that you watch, right? What about things you play? Horror you play?
So I have a love hate with horror video games. So I I can watch a horror movie in entirety and be
Sure.
okay. But as soon as you put me into like a horror video game, I'm like, I could play this for 30 minutes and then I have to get off. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a heart attack. Um, I could probably play a horror video game if I tried and pushed through it, but like something about me just gets like so like scared, and knowing that I could just shut it off. Like that the rake game we played. What was it called? Was it called just the
Um.
rake?
No, it was In Silence.
In silence. Yeah, like that game. We played that for like an hour, 10 minutes, hour and 10 minutes maybe, and we're like, all done. We're done.
To be fair though, that game was the first game that made me shriek like a girl. And I don't mean to like plug my shit in here, but if you watch my YouTube video that me and you
Yeah.
did on In Silence, I'm literally like, ah, like shrieking like a female.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You were scared as fuck, and I was scared as fuck too. That shit scares me. Now I've played a lot of horror games,
Yeah.
like, and I beat
Haven't you
quite a
beat
few.
Outlast? Is that a?
No, but I've played Outlast. I've never
That's the
like
one with the
had.
camcorder, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I've never like had the game in front of me long enough to like beat it.
Sure.
Um, I've been to like a friend's house and I've played it at their house. The main thing is I watched someone beat it,
Yes, we
so I
do,
mean,
Kelly.
like I technically beat it.
She's saying we need to play
Yeah.
again.
Oh, the In Silence. Yeah,
Yes.
she liked watching us play that. But oh, she didn't ever watch it play. Did I live stream In Silence? I don't think I did.
I know you live
I
streamed
think. Oh no,
Phasmophobia.
she watched you play it on your YouTube channel. That's why she liked it. She was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I liked watching that." But no, but
See,
I've played and beat a lot of horror games.
yeah.
It's just hard.
I think here's my problem with horror games. You take something like okay, like I'm gonna use Outlast, even though I just said it. So you take a horror game like Outlast, right?
Yeah,
Really creepy game, really scary, like it keeps you on your toes. It's pretty frightening, right?
yeah,
That's just a single player game. Take a multiplayer game like Phasmophobia, right?
yeah,
It's fun for like an hour or two, then you're done with it. You can sit down and play Outlast for the entirety of the campaign and then even want to do it again. Even games that aren't like horror games, like it was like that visual, not visual novel, but like visual horror. uh it wasn't PT, it was, I can't remember. I know you were playing it once. I had it on my Xbox and I know you've played it recently. It was it was the game with the guy and he was going through the house and seeing like his dead wife or something. I know you've played it. I honestly can't remember the name, but it's not like horror, but it's scary, right? That was a
uh-huh.
good storyline and that was a good game. Again,
Evil
it's single
Within.
player. It's not Evil Within. Man, I really wish I knew what it was called. Uh, I don't know, but it was like it had jump scares. But it wasn't like you had to run for your life or you had to like shoot and kill a monster. It was just like a frightening game.
Yeah,
But
I think you've talked about this recently because I said Evil Within last time, and you were like, "No, no, that's not it. That's not it." And that's the only one I could think of. See, now you're looking it up like you did
I am gonna
last
look it
time,
up.
and I don't remember. Um. Oh, you were trying to think of the game I played. No, Dallas is struggling to think of it. Ah, shit. Eh, There's crows in it.
No, 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 no.
Amnesia.
Fuck, no. You're not gonna guess it. I don't want to take up too much time looking this up. It's gonna bother me
Okay.
though. So, what I'm getting at, right? Okay, bleh. What I'm getting at is there's a bunch of solo player, single player, horror thriller games that are really good.
Yeah.
But you get to the
Yeah.
multiplayer and they're all shit. The only one that I can think of that's kind of good is like Dead by Daylight. That's a fun multiplayer game, but it's not really horror. Like I don't it's classified as a horror game. I don't know if you know this. But it's
Yeah.
not,
Well,
I mean, it's
obviously.
kind of scary like, oh shit, I got Michael Myers going after me or whatever. Like yeah, it's scary in that aspect, but it's not scary to the point where I'm like looking around corners like freaking out, jump
Now,
scares, nothing like that.
here's the thing. So there are obviously you're going to be a lot more afraid of playing a game by yourself
Sure.
than you are with friends. And a lot of times when there is like a horror game, it's like structure, like a multiplayer horror game, its structure is you have to work as a team to get out and to survive. And that kind of distracts you from the actual horror part. But I promise, if you were playing like a game like Dead by Daylight and it was 1v1, it would probably be a lot more scary.
I figured it out. Sorry. It's Layers of Fear. That's the game.
Layers of
Layers of
Fear.
Fear.
That's what it's called. Yeah. See, Kelsey even's like, yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of see what you're
Um,
saying. Like if you're in a single player setting, it's more terrifying. Yeah,
Huh?
go ahead and interrupt me, Kelsey. Go ahead and interrupt me. Go ahead.
Weren't you playing Layers of Fear for a little bit?
I did. I beat it. Yeah, I had
You
Cody
beat
watch
it.
me when I lived with my mom.
I watched play it. That's who I was talking about.
Oh my gosh, Kelsey. That's okay.
I
Yay,
don't.
she
I don't.
figured it
I don't
out
know if
after
she
like
watched
5 months.
I don't know if she watched me play it though, because I beat it at my mom's house, and I had my brother watch me. Because I would get drunk and play it and scream just to like make him laugh, and he'd stay up and watch me.
And were you streaming it?
No. This was way before I streamed.
Yeah. We came over and you were playing it.
Maybe like once or twice. I don't know.
You played it in your mom's
Regardless-
living room.
Regardless, I understand where you're coming from about the fact that if you play solo, it's going to be more scary. But you can't tell me that if me and you were doing Layers of Fear, it wouldn't still be scary.
It would be. No, but like my thing is like when you so there are horror games that I think are multiplayer that do it right and that are scary. Like In Silence, it has like
It has
a fear to it. Yeah. So I think the thing is like they need to figure out a way to make it to where there's more suspense and it's not relying so much on jump scares.
I mean, even Dead Space. Like, Dead Space 1 and 2 were scary-ass games.
Those
Dude,
are good.
Dude, if you played those co-op, that'd
I
still
beat
be
those.
just as scary. I'm also scrolling through, like, all of these
No.
horror games, and I've not played
Dude.
half of these. Maybe I just need to expand my horror game.
Okay, you ever played Doom? Doom's a horror game. Technically. Doom 3 is a horror game.
I bought Doom,
And you hated it.
and
Shut
I
up.
played it for 2 minutes and was like, what?
That game's fun as fuck. No. Have you ever played Amnesia?
I watched PewDiePie play it back in the day, and I watched
I beat it.
watched your playthroughs back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in like
Loa ding,
2012.
loa ding ding dong. When it was like loading, I'm so stupid. I suck so bad at fucking YouTubing.
Markianis gamer here.
Still Markianis, you can fuck off.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that. I
Yeah,
didn't even realize
it's
you were
been
using
that
the same
long.
thing.
Yep. I've had this name
Dude,
since
you should
like
have kept
7th
your
grade.
Amnesia videos up. I guarantee you they'd be fucking hits.
No,
They'd be hits right
bro. Garbage.
now. 100%.
Garbage.
Okay, right now, everybody that's watching this, whether you're watching this live or on YouTube, post in the comments. You want this guy right here, Marcus. You want him to start uploading to YouTube.
I'm not editing. I'm
You
not,
need to.
dude.
It's fun.
I might get into it. Maybe when I move out, I'll get into editing. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now that I can't just really, get into editing. I can live stream. That's easy. But editing is a little more difficult. But no, back to like fucking horror games. I played like Amnesia. You ever play Resident Evil?
I played Resident Evil 5 with Stefan.
That's a horror game.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Oh, and it was multiplayer. Resident Evil 5 was multiplayer.
I played it with Stefan, yeah.
Yeah. That's a scary multiplayer game. It's got some scary moments. Now, Resident Evil 5, I feel like they've kind of got lost in the sauce for a while. Resident Evil did.
My brother loved 6, and then there was one that came out before. It went like 6, and then there was like 2 of them that are like really weird. He
6?
loved, huh?
He liked 6? He
Yeah.
liked Resident Evil 6?
That's the one with the SWAT team, right?
Fucking yikes, dude. I
Am I right?
hated 6.
Is that the one that he liked?
6 is the one where you could play as like, you could play multiplayer.
Could you play as
There's a
Chris?
choice. You could play as Chris Redfield. You could play as Leon. You could play as
I feel
a
like,
lot of them.
I
all
feel
of
like
them.
that, I feel like that's the one that he liked. Then
You play as Sherry. You could play as the
Yep,
guy
that's
who
the
looks like
one.
Eminem.
That's the one that he loved. He watched me and
Hated
Stefan
that one.
play 5, and he thought that like the 6th one would be cool. I was like, I don't know if that looks too good, dude. He fucking loved 6.
It was too action. It was less horror, too action. 5 kind of was like straying from it a little bit. I liked 5, but 4. Oh my god, I loved Resident Evil 4. That shit was my jam.
Bussin',
Like
that shit bussin'.
I beat, and my younger brother and my older brother We have collectively beat Resident Evil 4 probably over 200 times. I've beat that game so many fucking times.
You know
over
what's
and
crazy?
over again.
You're probably not over-exaggerating when you say that, but can I tell you something? I know we're not talking about video games, but I have physically beat the first Jak and Daxter more times than days I've been alive. Probably not, but like
It's an over-exaggeration. 100%.
I'm telling you, I've beat the original Jak and Daxter at least 356 times. 365 times.
Yeah, I could believe that. There's games that I've done that too.
That's a
like Resident
shitty-ass
Evil 4.
game. Have you played the first Jak and Daxter? Garbage. Nah. It is shit. Dude, I would not play that game anymore.
You're offending a population of people who think that's the best game in the world right now.
No, it is a really good game. It's one of the first games I grew up on. But dog, if you try to play that now compared to other games, even like Jak 2 and Jak 3, like
pick any old game. If
now,
someone tells
you remaster the first 3 like you did for the PS3 and the PS4, which I bought both of them, you remaster all that shit. Not talking reskin, redevelop and remaster. Dog, yeah. I would buy that on the PS5. I'd go out and buy a PS5 just to play those games.
Listen. If you play any old game that's like pre-PlayStation 2, and you're like, I like this game, it is better than most games that are out now, you're living off of nostalgia, my dude, and you need to grow up.
Wow, you're just generalizing a whole population.
No, fuck that, dude. If you tell me, if you're like, hey, bro, I'm not gonna play this new game. I'm gonna stick with like fucking Medal of Honor Frontline, dude. Like, I'm not playing new Call of Duty. Medal of Honor Frontline had it right, bro. Like, if you do that shit, bro, you're living off nostalgia, and you need to get off your fucking high horse.
I'm not naming who I think about whenever you say that, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. So, I'm just saying, like, if you think like, oh, the new games are garbage, shut up. I mean, there's good games that I can play now. Like, there's games I can play now, and I'm like, this is an old game. I can enjoy playing it. But it's not better than any new game that's out now. It's not. Now, it may have a good storyline. It's not, though.
So,
sorry. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So, Kelsey said something in the chat. She said zombie games are horror games. And you know what that makes me think of? Nazi zombies. One of the best horror games ever. That shit scared the dog piss out of me. Me and Stefan in a room with 2 Kar 98Ks trying to defend zombies on like round 10. Getting the ray gun and screaming. Dog, that shit was scary.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, it's a horror game. But
you don't know what you're talking about. I'm revoking
I do know what I'm talking about.
License, dog.
Stop. Zombies, to me,
I don't want to hear it,
bro. They're kicking a dead horse,
dude. What do you mean? Okay, we can't get on this conversation now. We can't. We're gonna get too far gone down the fucking yellow brick road.
Talking about living off nostalgia, dude. Am I right? Like,
this man.
Anyway, no, but yeah, zombie games are horror games. Like Resident Evil was traditionally a zombie game. Like Resident Evil 2 is like one of the scariest fucking games I played as a kid, and that's a zombie game.
Hey, does this look stupid?
I would put a hood up, but I don't got a hood, so I got a beanie instead.
Haha. So here's a question. So we've talked about horror movies, horror shows, and horror games. Do you have any horror experiences?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm not talking like, unless this applies to you, like a time a serial killer broke into your house, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to have that. I'm talking experiences that you've had where you damn near shit your pants.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay,
I have. I mean, like, so, you know the paper route.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to help you, and, well, me and Jeremy used to help you with it.
Yeah, Jeremy, like, every fucking day. But my dad,
shout out to Jeremy.
this is
He's
more...
a champ.
this is more his story. But like he's like laid it out for me, and I used to run these routes, so it was kind of freaky. There was two things that he told me. Now, my dad is like, I trust my dad, but then like again, like I know my dad likes to romanticize the idea of like monsters in the dark because he's
Sure.
like obsessed with that sort of thing. Like I like horror movies, but that man like loves horror. It's like one of his favorite things. Him and his brother, my uncle, they like obsess about horror. Um, but we used this paper out, and there was a town called Hopewell, and there was a road that he would take as well that he called it Chain Road. I'll get to why in a second. So when he'd pass through this little like area, this little suburbia area called Hopewell, he was driving one time, and as he was driving, now this is like down Franklin, like out in BFE,
I think I know
like
what you're
down
talking about.
Whiteland
Did
Road
you
and
tell
shit.
me and Jeremy about this on the paper route?
Yeah. It's and there's a place called Hopewell,
Okay.
and he was driving and he was delivering papers, and he stopped, and it was like at this corner, and there's like this open field, okay, and just across open field there's like trees.
Okay.
If you can picture this, it's like 3 in the fucking morning. All right, my dad's chilling, depositing the paper, and he looks down in the field, and there's like this completely like naked looking humanoid figure,
Hey.
and it's like moving, like schmoving.
Oh, he's
It's like
moving.
coming his way, and he was like, haha, no, and he fucking like took off, right?
I don't blame him though.
And he said he's seen a couple sightings of like some similar things. He said, but he's never seen anything like that. But he said it was like the rake is what he called it, because he was obsessed with talking about the rake when we were younger. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, the rake. Denver, go. Mimo out.
Ooh, yell at them dogs.
Yeah, but he coined that area, and he coined the monster. He called it the Hopewell monster. And he said that he would, or the Hopewell beast, because he's seen it like once or twice, or he thinks he's seen it more than once. But he said it didn't look like a deer, didn't look like a coyote, but it was like galloping on like, well, it was like on four and then got on two and then back on four is how he described it.
Okay.
So there's that one. And that one shook me because that's like my.
Can I
Well,
say?
I'll get to that.
Can I say one and then you go to one too? Could we go like
Yeah.
back and forth?
You can. Oh yeah. Sorry. I don't mean to hog up all
No,
the
no,
time.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
My bad.
I know that like if you go to another one, then I'm gonna be like, oh, I've got one that like kind of matches that. So
Yeah.
and you can vouch for this because I believe you were there. It was when me, you, my brother, your brother Matt, your brother Miles, Jeremy, maybe Gavin. We had like a slew of us, like a fucking squad. And we went to that one haunted place down in Martinsville.
The cemetery.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
It was a cemetery, right?
Yes. And obviously, like, it's scary. It's not really horror. It's just scary. We put ourselves in that position and we...
Wait, Hodunk or the cemetery?
I don't know what podunk is, dog.
It was on my 18th birthday.
I don't know.
Did we go to Steak and Shake after?
Yes, and Gavin almost
Okay.
left me and my brother.
It was a cemetery.
This motherfucker got in his Jeep and left us. I'm
Yeah. It
like,
wasn't
okay.
a Jeep at the time. It was like a fucking car, or a van.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Me and my brother were like, hello. Anyways,
Yeah.
we heard like
I'm sorry.
they were like telling a story about like a fucking ghost or something that like haunted the cemetery and it was in a tree. Well, dude, do you remember I had my Galaxy S4? It was when I first started my job.
Yeah.
No, it was probably like right before I started my job because I still lived at my mom's house.
Yeah.
And I was recording, asking questions, and I was like recording up in the trees and the bushes and shit. Well, I was gonna watch the recording, like later on.
Yeah.
Never ended up getting to it, because I smashed my phone. At least watching the whole thing. Well, I'm like sidetracking hardcore. I watched a little bit of the recording and kind of like fast forward to like different parts, and you could hear like whispering on the audio, which I didn't think would happen. And that kind of freaked me out because I've not really like believe in like demons or like ghosts. I mean, I kind of do now, but like back then I definitely didn't. And the fact that like I could hear like you guys talking and doing your own thing over there, and you can just hear like little like little whispers that were like not even audible. And I don't know what they are because my fucking phone, it's gone, broken.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like one of my horror stories. That kind of reminds me of that. I mean, it's not really like a rake or anything, but just like there's definitely some shit going on in that audio recording.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. That shit was freaky as
like,
fuck.
I don't remember who it was. Somebody like started running, and we all just fucking zipped and took off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I tried not to remember much because that was scary as fuck. And we were like walking over like fucking headstones and stuff, and it felt like we're
on top of gravestones. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was Gavin. He was like, "You're gonna anger the spirits," and I was like, "Fuck, shit."
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Don't haunt me.
The thing that I remember most was like when I had to pee and like I just held it because he was like, "Just go pee in the woods," and I'm like, "No."
All right, you can go ahead and tell your next story because I've already got my next one.
Okay, so paper route as well, and I went down this road a lot, because like I said, I picked up the same route my dad did. I took over the paper route, there for a while, and there was this road we would take off of 31, and it would take us to like this like it's a long stretch and it leads to the dead end, but there's like a house, long stretch, a house, long stretch, a house, real long stretch, and there's a house and it's a dead end.
And there was
and
that there was that cornfield on the other side, right?
Yep.
Yep.
My dad called this place Chain Road. And he said because he would drive, and he would drive slowly because he's dropping off papers, and it's technically a residential area.
Sure.
On the left side, there's houses. On the right side, fucking scary-ass demon fields. Anyway, he would drive down there, and he would have to drive slowly, and you would hear what would sound like chains being dragged. Like you can imagine the sound of like chains being dragged behind you.
It reminds me of like the Pyramid Head dragging his sword on the ground.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. But you would hear that, and there was times where he would hear like low growls with the chain, and he's like, "That ain't a fucking dog."
I'd be
and
out.
he'd get scared. I've heard the chains. I've never heard the growl. When I heard the chains, I said, "Those 3 people down there, they need papers. They're not getting papers. I'm leaving," and I left. But
you'd be made into a horror movie, my friend.
Oh, dude, like that fucking shit scared the fuck out of me because it's like I'm stopped. I'm in a different car, so it's not my dad's car making the chain noises, right? I'm by this house, and I have my window down. I'm putting a paper in, and I'm wigging out because this fucking mailbox has a big ass spider on it. Yeah, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening. And I just hear like like the chain sound, and I was like, "Ha ha!" And I pulled in this guy's driveway, turned around, and I was like, "Fuck those guys! I'll take the hit. They can call and complain.
You're a
I don't give a shit."
Newspaper delivery.
You know what? I didn't want to die by fucking Pyramid Head. Okay. So, but yeah, that's my other one.
So
scary shit.
We didn't really talk about /X. Like the paranormal tab on 4chan. I know that you probably wanted to talk about it. We can kind of lead into that with this story if you want to. Because I don't know if this would be considered horror or if this would be considered kind of like paranormal-ish. And I didn't write this down, so you have no idea what I'm about to say. Do you remember when you made me astral project?
Oh, yeah. Now see, like... that shit. What are you doing? Are you astral projecting or trying to again? No, I remember that, and like, I'm
I'm still determined that like you probably don't believe me a little bit, and I definitely am determined that Jeremy thinks I'm bullshitting the whole thing.
no. I believe you because you described what was happening. You
Yes.
watched me reach for the headphone and woke up before I pulled it out,
Yes.
or came to you before I pulled it out, because
Let
I was
me
right there.
let me explain this to the viewers, okay? Astral projecting, right? That is when your soul is still attached to your body, but it comes out. It's like a form of like some religions believe in it. And I think the movie is Insidious, right? And one of the
Yeah,
Insidious movies,
that's another good horror movie.
he um he wanders too far away from his body, and that like rope kind of, I guess what you would say, that's like holding his soul to his body detaches, and then a demon can go inside, right? That's what some people believe. And then, not to get into like the conspiracy theory talk, but there's like a whole thing about Capital, I think it was Capital Steez, apparently something like that happened to him. Anyways, that's another talk for a different time. um we were listening to, I had just gotten like the new Dre beats. They were like fucking $350. Marcus
Studios
came
were
over.
nice.
Huh?
The studios, they were nice.
Oh yeah, they were great headphones. And Marcus came over and hung out with me probably after school or on a weekend. Maybe you were staying the night. I don't fucking remember.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me about like some astral projection shit. And back in the day, I didn't really believe in any of this. I used to be like an agnostic atheist. And this dude was like a hardcore, like religious, like nut, okay?
I wasn't a religious nut. I just
Yes,
went
you
to church.
So if you went
Okay.
to, okay, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Uh, he told me about astral projection, and he was like, you can listen to this music, and you can like go to like the fourth or fifth dimension or purgatory. I don't remember how you explained it to me, and I was
You
like,
remember the music?
it was binaural beats.
Binaural beats.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
And
3D sound.
I did not believe this dude at all. I was like, you're high, you're stupid, what the fuck? But I was like, sure, I'll try it out. And I think that's the reason why it worked. Because me and you have attempted it, I think like 2 or 3 times since then. And I know I've tried to have like my brother help me and Jessica like once or twice. Try to do it again, and I cannot do it again. So what happened was I laid down on the bed, and I put the headphones on, and he played the beats. And he kind of like, you kind of scared me, right? By saying that like demons could enter my body. So you were only going to let me do it for a certain amount of time. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Pull the plug and let me come back. Just know that if I fucking like shoot somebody or stab somebody, it's not me. Like convince the police it's a demon or something. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these beats, and I obviously have my eyes closed. And next thing I know, it's like I woke up, right? It's like I'm in a dream, and I woke up, and I'm kind of like standing above my body, but I'm like standing on floor, but it's not on the floor. Like I'm not touching the floor. And I'm standing over my body, and I'm looking down. And at first I thought it was like a dream. I'm like, this motherfucker just put me into a dream state. And I see you. My phone is in your left hand. Your phone is in your right hand. And you're scrolling through like iFunny or something. I didn't look at your phone, so I don't know. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I turn around and I look at my my entertainment center, and I can see every single water bottle that's up there, every single Coke can. I can see the bag of Doritos behind the fucking TV. I can see what's on the TV at the time. And I'm like, okay, there's no way that like I'd be having a dream and I could remember all of these things that are like there. So I'm making my way to the door to open up the door and go into the living room so I can be like, I can tell you what my mom is doing in the living room. And as soon as I'm making my way over there, you pull the headphones off and you're like, all right, your time's done. And I was pissed. I was like, dog, what did you just do? I was just about to leave the room. And I think I told you, right? I think I told you, I said, go look at the TV stand. There's like 6 water bottles up there, 3 Coke cans. And you went up there and you're like, bro, you knew that. One thing that I will say that I've been able to do that I haven't been able to do before that is I can lucid dream. I think about what I want my dream to do. And I just, like, my entire dream is what I make it. So if I'm walking around surviving a zombie apocalypse, I get
Can you still do that?
I don't do it as much as I used to, but like once or twice a week when I'm dreaming, it's whatever I want it to be.
I think the fact that you can lucid dream assisted astral projection because
Maybe.
because that's like 2 and 2. They say listen to binaural beats when you go to sleep if you want to lucid dream too.
But
So like
to
hand
me,
in hand.
to me, it doesn't make sense as to how nobody can do it. Like you
There's
told
plenty
me,
of people lucid dream.
well, you like think like the average person can't do it. But to
No.
me, it's simple. All I do is I just lay down and I think of a place, right? Like I think of like, okay, downtown. And then I plop myself in there. And it's almost like you're making a video game. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of people making video games, but you've got the camera and you can move the camera to either follow the person or put it in the person and you can follow them. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can see myself in third person. I can see myself in first person. And when I'm telling you, like, I think of like every aspect of the dream that comes up, I used to not be able to. Like, you go to punch and it's like really slow or really hard. Not me. If I'm having a dream and I need to skedaddle, I can run. If I'm having a dream and there's a killer after me, I normally don't have nightmares because if fucking Bigfoot or Freddy Krueger's after me, dude, I can pull out a chainsaw and cut their heads off. I can beat the shit out of Bigfoot and I've got like fucking Goku punches. Like that shit does not faze me in my dreams at all.
Fucking nightmares.
I have no idea what you
So-
said. You just lagged hardcore, my friend.
Sorry, no, I have like nightmares. Like I typically have, I would say like 2 or 3 times a week, I would have like nightmares, and I
Still?
can't do anything about them. Yeah, I have nightmares very
Jesus,
often.
man. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
so sometimes when I'm not lucid dreaming, I'll have like a scary dream and I can't do anything. It's like a
Yeah.
normal dream where you try to run and it's like you're running in water or you're punching and it's like slow motion. Like,
Yeah,
I experience those things sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore and I can't control it. But I would say like once or twice a week when I'm dreaming, if I'm like, I want to have a dream about living in the ocean. Like I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll literally have a dream where I'm like a fucking fish in the ocean, just chilling, just flying around in the ocean, whatever. And what's crazy is I have a theory. I have like dark circles under my eyes, right?
yeah.
This is going to make me sound like a psychopath. I think the reason why is because I'm not actually sleeping. I wonder if maybe I'm not lucid dreaming and I'm just staying up and like daydreaming, right? Like daydreaming these things in my head. Because I can go to
With
sleep
your eyes closed.
with my eyes closed, yeah. But then again, I sit here and something that disproves that is Jessica's like, well, you snore in the bed. And I'm like, okay, well, I wouldn't just fucking snore while not sleeping. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I think
It's-
you lucid dream.
It's always creeped me out that like a lot of other people are like, you don't control your dreams. I can only control my dreams for 5 minutes and then I go to sleep. I'm like, how can like I don't even understand like how that works.
No, like okay, so like for example, what happens is like when I dream, how it happens for I think like a normal person, because I've never heard of anyone just tell me like, oh, I lucid dream all the time. Like typically lucid dream is something people practice and try to get used to doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they don't lucid dream. That's the typical is they can't. Dallas can. That's the thing. And when I dream, what happens is it's like I'm plopped into a reality other than my own. And it's just that like someone's put me through the eyes of somebody.
So you never have a
Okay.
dream that you're Marcus?
Well, I'm Marcus like all the way. Like I can look at my hands and I can move. But typically it's not that. Typically it's like I'm watching and recording through my own eyes of an alternate reality and I'm just watching. So like for example,
So you can't react. Like if somebody pops up and it's a scary monster, you can't turn around and run. You're watching what that like thing would do.
like for example, a dream I had. It was a nightmare. Me and I remember my nightmares pretty well. Me and my brother were walking through this warehouse, okay? And he had like a AK, like AK-47, and he was walking through. Yeah, he had like a gun, like a big gun, and I had nothing. I had a flashlight. And he looked at me and he was like, "You might want to turn it off. It will find you." And I was like, "Dope." And he said, "I'm gonna go clear this room real quick. Be very quiet. I don't come back in the next like 2 minutes, leave, go, because it's got me. And I was like, all right. So he walked away, and I waited like what felt like ever. And I was like, yeah, gotta go. So like my body like turned around and started walking away, and I walked into another room, right? And this is like, I would say it's more of like an abandoned school than a warehouse.
Sure.
It feels like a school. It's like a warehouse, but with like a lot of rooms for some reason, right? Like there's upper levels and shit like that. Well, I walk into this room, okay, and I'm walking around, and I walk to the corner of the room, and I turn around, and I see at the door like a dog, right? And this dog is like, it's like a hellhound, right? It has like, its face is like elongated, and it's like a horse skull,
Okay.
and its like skin is kind of like sloughing off on the sides, but it's about dog size. And it's got like pits for eyes, and there's like a red dot on each side. It's got like red eyes, but it's like recessed. Okay? And it's moving around. And I start to shimmy around the wall, and I turn the corner, and it jumps on top of me. Right? And it's on top of me.
Jesus.
And it gets like in my face, and its maw like opens up, and it has like teeth and like a really long like forked tongue, and it just leans in, and it says like in a very deep rumbling voice, "I got you." And the dream is over.
So
Those are like my nightmares, and I can't do anything.
So can you switch dreams? Like if you don't like that one, can you just like pause it or turn it off?
I'm forced.
That's so weird to me. Because I think,
Yeah.
and I don't know, because I don't remember like a lot of my dreams that I'm not lucid dreaming in, or that I'm not lucid dreaming in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if I don't like the dream that I'm having, I can kind of like change it. Like if I'm like, okay, I'm bored of this, or okay, I don't want to be scared anymore. Okay, whatever the reason is, I can kind of just be like, stop, wait a minute, and then just like change the dream.
No.
I can't wake myself up, because I've actually had lucid dreams where I've like woken up and gone to like, not gone to work or anything like that, because I think that'd be fucking weird. But like I've woken up and like done things around the house, or like got on to play video games or whatever, and then I've woken up and I'm just like, oh, it's Wednesday, right? And it's like,
That's
no, it's
happened to
Tuesday.
me.
And I'm like, dog, what? You're telling me that I didn't just like live an entire day? And it's not like deja vu, like I did the same things, because when I'd wake up, I'd have to go to work. It's just like every other like Tuesday I'm going to work or whatever. But I've had dreams like that, and they're not even that long. It's not even, it's like all game for like 10 minutes, and then I'll wake up, right? Because that's normally, you don't normally remember all of your dreams. You only remember like a short bit of them. And so I'm like, okay, so I just survived an entire day. It's Wednesday now. And then I wake up and I'm like, no, it's not. It's Tuesday.
Yeah. It's just weird. No, like I have similar situations happen. So like I've told you I have like bouts of sleep paralysis, and it's like real bad. Typically it happens is when I like fall asleep, and I'll be like napping like in midday. But there's times where like I'll wake up to my first alarm for work, for example, okay? And I'll shut it off, and I'll go back to sleep, and it'll trigger my sleep paralysis. Okay? And then it's like I'm in a loop of like waking up. So like I'll wake up and I'll start my day. But if everything feels different, like I'm in a different house, it's a different season, right? It's a different time of day, but I'm putting my work clothes on. I'm heading to work. For whatever reason, my work is in the middle of a desert. It's a blue beacon. And I go there, and I like work at a drive-through where I like take people's tickets, and they go in and get truck wash in an automated truck wash. That happened one time, and I like woke up again. And it was just like, oh, I'm up finally. But this time I'm at Polo Run Apartments. I'm getting up. I'm putting my Walmart clothes on. I go outside, and I'm outside my parents' house.
Yeah, so
And it's
I've
like
had dreams like that before. Like I've had dreams where like I'm in my house or my apartment, and then I open up the front door to leave, and it's the outside of my mom's old house.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to work with Jeremy. And then me and Jeremy get in a bus and we take a bus to a Kroger that looks like a knight's castle on top of a hill. And the parking lot is on the hill. Like, I've had some crazy fucked up dreams like that too. That's funny.
But that happens like when I like repeatedly wake up, it's usually I'm in sleep paralysis, and then I'll finally actually wake up and I can't fucking move.
Yeah.
Like my body's just like no. And I feel like my like whole like existence trying to move, but I can't. Now I've never had like any, except for that one time I talked about in the space episode. I think we touched on it when I had sleep paralysis where I thought I was being abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
That was the only time where like I felt like I had like a hallucination, but I actually might have been just fucking abducted by aliens. I don't fucking know. I don't want to get all tinfoil hat, but no, I would get sleep paralysis a lot, and it's usually when I'm having like those repeated things, or I have like a very vivid nightmare that like shakes me to my core. I'll wake up with sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I'm beginning to lucid dream less and less. Because back in
Probably
high
because
school,
you're getting older.
in high school, it would be every single dream. Now,
Yeah.
like I said, it's like once or twice a week. And I used to, some of my dreams, even if they weren't lucid dreams, I used to be able to control some aspects. Now, if I'm not lucid dreaming and it's just like an autoplay, like just figure it out, I don't control any of it. But I also don't remember like a lot of my dreams. Do you ever have dreams that like repeat and you think like it's trying to tell you something? Like not horror dreams that repeat. I mean, they could be horror dreams, but just like random
Like
weird
nightmares?
Not nightmares.
Not like nightmares, but like when you say horror dreams, you mean nightmares.
What I mean is like,
Just regular dreams that repeat.
yeah, but there might be like one thing different, like one small teensy little detail that's different than the other times.
Typically when my dreams repeat, they are like things I've done before. Right? So like one time I had a bout, and I didn't really talk about it because it was just like plain weird fucking dream, where I would drive to the store and I'd go into Walmart and I would start shopping. Right? And that was literally the dream. And every dream was different. I'd buy different stuff. But like it was just a dream where I'd go to Walmart and I'd go in there and I'm just like,
That's the
hey, I'm gonna
shittiest dream
buy
I could think of.
Cheez-Its. And like I said, when I have these dreams, it's like I'm watching it through like VR goggles, and it's just a movie. So I'm not controlling it. Myself is just like Cheez-Its, fucking goldfish, ramen noodles,
That's crazy.
milk. And I would go and I would load it in my Malibu because at the time I was driving the Malibu. And I had them for like 2 weeks. But it would be like every other night. Or like I sometimes have dreams where like the ones that wig me out are like dreams where like I wake up and I'm like, whoa, that nightmare was scary. I'm gonna go back to sleep, and then it just starts up again where I left off. Like it picks up
That's
where I left
probably like
off.
the worst thing
And I'm
that could
like,
happen.
haha, I can't escape it. That's happened a couple of times, or like another nightmare will happen, like a different one. I'm like, oh, this is a new dream, I'm fine. But
Okay. So last topic that I think that we can discuss. It's still on the horror topic, except it's like a little less horror. What is like the scariest not abnormal thing that you've witnessed? And like I'll go first to kind of like explain what I meant. So the scariest thing that I've personally witnessed, I'm trying to think of what it was. So fuck, man, I just lost it.
what do you mean scariest thing that you've witnessed? Now, is it something that you've experienced? Or are you saying like horror type, or are you saying like just normal shit?
I mean, so I don't mean like, oh, there's this time that I was helping you move and I was like, hey, ghost, do something in the basement. And then like something paranormal like that happened. I mean like, God, man, I don't even know how to word it. I feel like it's like a bad question if I don't even know how to word it. Like something that's not abnormal, but still like creepy that happened to you. Like this didn't happen to me. I'm just like making up a story and then you can go and then I'll see if mine comes back. But like you're shopping, right? At a gas station and you see like a fucked up dude, right? and he looks like he's on something, and it looks like he might have a gun.
Ooh.
And you're sitting there thinking like, okay, I think he's gonna rob this place. And so you kind of like freak out a little bit, and then maybe the story will end with you staying in there, and the dude is just like fidgeting with his coat pocket, and you're fine. Or maybe you're like, I need to get the fuck out of here, and you book it, and you have no idea. So I do remember the story.
Hi there.
I don't know if it would be too personal though, so I'm going to leave out a lot of names.
Uh-huh.
My closest that I can think of is, and again, I'm leaving out names because, you know, circumstances. Me and Jeremy, right? We used to always go and eat at this certain place that one of his exes worked at. And he would go there, and we didn't eat there all the time, but we would go in there. I think even me and you went in there a couple of times with him just to hang out. And sometimes we would get food and hang out there. Somebody decided to rob a gas station, and before robbing that gas station, went to said place and robbed that place.
Yeah.
With the gun. And I'm sitting there thinking, when I heard that happened, said person knew me. Said person did not like me. I'm assuming they did not like me because I didn't really talk to the said person. And I was there all the time. And I almost went there that day. The only reason why we didn't go there is because the said person that worked there called off for the night. Not because they knew it was happening. It just they were sick. But yeah, that's like a creepy thing that I can think of.
When that happened,
oh God, fuck.
30 minutes later, said person was shot and killed at the gas station.
Yes, yeah. It makes me freak out because if me and Jeremy would have gone there, what would have happened? Would he have been? Would this person had been cool with me and Jeremy? Or would we be shot and killed or robbed? Would they have taken? You know what I mean?
He didn't shoot anybody.
Well, I know but he waved a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Or said person. Not he, said person. It's just stuff like that. That's something that I think of that's like horror.
Like something dangerous.
That situation right there is one of the creepier ones. I have one more story, but if you want to say one, you can. But just like when I think about that, I'm like, dude, something crazy up in the sky must have aligned to make it to where so-and-so called off, which means that the three of us didn't go in there, which means that the three of us didn't get robbed or shot or mugged or whatever. Because for all we know, right, if you would have went, right, let's say the person was cool, right, they were just chilling. Hey, you want to go to the gas station with me?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go to the gas station, let's get some drinks, whatever. Bam. You know what I mean? That'd have been a fucked up situation too. I just think about that sometimes. Like, even still to this day, I kind of like just wonder about that. And I'm like, dog, what would have happened if I would have been there? You know?
We'll see it when he's ready to eat it.
What's really fucked up? Because I was friends with him. Or them.
It's okay. We already know it's a guy.
Yeah, I was friends with him in grade school.
Yeah, and I
Good friend.
I talked to this person, and we had some conversations. I wasn't like besties. I wouldn't even say we were friends, more just acquaintances.
Well, me and him were in a friend group with another friend I had that lived next door. We used to go skateboard all the time.
Yeah, that's so crazy, man.
No, I've had scary shit happen like that.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So, like, there was
Dog, I've asked Jessica to get me a water, and she hasn't got me a water, and I see that she's watching this. Jessica, if you're in here, I would like a water. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, sorry.
My wife brought me food.
I have had a sandwich sitting on... Dog, look at this. This sandwich from Penn Station. I've just been chomping on my fries.
I mean, I'm eating.
Well, that's because I'm not rude. I don't eat on camera. If
Scary
you want me
things
to
have
tell
happened to
another
me.
story while you're eating, I can.
No, I mean, it depends what you call scary. So, like, there's one time that I almost hit a deer.
That's pretty
That was
creepy.
scary as fuck. And it's really scary when it's like 2 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and you're driving and you're
Oh
going
yeah.
like 45 down a country road and it comes out of fucking nowhere. And there's something eerie about deers,
They
right?
just do what the fuck they want.
Well, like creatures, like big creatures with like antlers.
They creep you out.
Like if, yeah, it wigs me out. It's like during the daytime, it's kind of cool, but like at nighttime when you see their glowing eyes in the distance, it's just like the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've almost hit a deer before at middle of the night. That was pretty freaky. And then being in a car accident. That
Yeah.
shit's scary as fuck. But
So like,
nothing like extreme.
I think I've told you about this story. I feel like mine, dude. I feel like I have a lot of stories to tell. I feel like
Yeah.
I've had a very interesting life, and all I do is sit down and play fucking video games 85% of the time. So, you know Stefan. He was just in here talking to us in the chat. I went to
Yeah.
his house, been friends with him since like the 5th grade. And he had a park in his neighborhood. And we're walking to this park, and we're little ass kids. Like, I'm talking 8, 9, maybe 10. And there's actually, you're not even 8 or 9 in the 5th grade, are you?
You're older.
I was like,
Like 10, 11.
yeah, 10, 11. That sounds about right. Yeah. 10 or 11 years old. No, that's not right. Dog, hold on a second. 9th grade, I was 14. Okay, fuck, I was 10. Okay, 10-year-old Dallas, 10-year-old Stefan, walking. We're obviously little kids. And we were following the road because we didn't want to, like, cut through people's grass, right? We're just following the road and it zigzags. Does corners and shit. And there's this car, and there's this old person, and I don't know if it was a man or a woman. This old person is following us in a car. And we didn't know they were following us at first. We just thought, like, oh, it's just an old person driving slow. You know, whatever. We're kids. We're not worried about our surroundings. We don't give a shit. We're talking about fucking RuneScape and about how we're going to go to the park. I noticed that we had made a turn, and the car made a turn. Okay, whatever. No big deal. Well, we make another turn, this car takes another turn, and it's following behind us. So I start to panic a little bit, and I'm like, hey man, I think this car is following us. We should take another left and another left, which means that we would have made a full, like, circle or a square. And if it's still following us, we need to fucking book it. And dude, it pissed me off. We were so close to that park. We were literally right there. Well, because it's my luck, this car was following us. Old ass person just fucking really slow. We booked it. We booked it back to his house. Dude, what scared me was when we started running, the car sped up. The car sped up. It didn't swerve onto the grass or anything like that, but it followed us. And you can ask Stefan that this shit fucking freaked us the hell out. We went inside, we locked the doors. We didn't tell his mom because his mom wasn't at home. I think it was just his grandma at the time. Probably making spaghetti. But, dude, we were terrified. I was like, I'm going to see this old person driving around in my neighborhood looking for me.
Oh, no.
I was almost abducted. And to fucking God knows what.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I can't think of anything like that. Like, I'm sure something like that's happened to me. What cop? Well, yeah, but he wasn't going to abduct us. He was just going to pull us over. That's not that bad. But, like, yeah, Kelsey's had people follow her. like creepy dudes. But I think that's like a thing that like happens to women all the time. I feel
Yeah.
bad for women. But that's like
Like, it's weird to say that, like,
normal. Yeah.
it's weird to say that, like, I was followed around by a car, right? Like,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a normal sentence that you hear anybody say. But
We hear chicks all the time saying like, "Oh, this dude was following me around
that's what
the
I mean.
store."
If you're a female and you say that,
Like,
you
damn,
hear
girl.
that a lot more. You hear that a lot more, which it shouldn't be that way. Nobody should be following kids or people around in general. But you're right, females do get that a lot more.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the feeling of it. I sure as fuck don't like being followed. There's been multiple times me and Jeremy have been chilling in a car. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's cars following us. And I'm just being paranoid as shit because, you know, that's what you do when you're, you know, doing stuff and you're paranoid. So I'm like, take 3 lefts. Take 3 lefts or
When you're
take...
doing stuff
Huh?
and you're paranoid.
Yeah.
That's what you've been doing when you're doing stuff and you're paranoid.
Yeah, you take 3 lefts or you take 3 rights. And the car was still following us. And we're like, we need to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, I've caught people like shoplifting at the Walmart I work at, or like trying to steal, and that always makes me kind of nervous or scared, I guess, in a sense, because like that makes them trigger a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean like burp on camera. I'm being gross as fuck. No, but so like when I'm at Walmart and like I see someone come up there and they have like an item and they put like a new tag on it, and I scan it as a cashier and I'm like, that's not the right tag. And if I like address it to them,
They might pull
like
a
what
gun
if
or
they
a
just like
knife.
yeah, what if they flip out and they're just like, it's the right tag, and they like have like a
What'd
gun.
you say?
Yeah, I think that was the right tag.
Do we got a problem?
I love that guy, dude. No, but like nothing like really crazy. I don't think like I don't know.
That's why
I mean,
don't
like I
like
got in
telling
trouble
my
with the
stories,
cops.
because I feel like a lot of people think that like a lot of these things are fabricated. Dog.
No, like I could believe that, you know, but
We are coming up on the 2-hour mark.
oh yeah. I mean, there was that one time I thought someone. Well, no, I knew someone was knocking on the door, but it was like at 11. You remember
Dude,
that?
you know what you could have said? You could have told the story. I mean, you still can, about when me and Matt had to go to your house.
That's what I was just saying. When the dude was
okay,
knocking on
okay.
the door,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we were like, "Hello." Oh, I got a story of Kelsey's I want to tell. Is that cool if I tell one of your stories that you told me? Pregnant lady next door. Yeah, that was
Jessica's
scary as
peeing
fuck.
in the bathroom, and I hope you don't hear it.
I don't hear it. No. But no, yeah, there's that one time I knocked on the someone knocked on the door and I was by myself and I was upstairs
Yep.
and the dog started fucking going ape shit and then they stopped. And I was like,
Can you give me a water bottle?
yo.
You didn't see me bust it. Did you see me bust it?
And I thought dead ass someone was in the house.
He had to call me and
No,
his
no,
brother
no.
Matt because, you know, we
The
stay
one
strapped.
where I was at home alone and I had to get a weapon here.
You had to call me and
Upstairs?
Matt because me and Matt stay strapped.
I will talk about yours next. Yeah, I called you guys. I also had a gun, but you know, I didn't know where it was at, and I was scared to go downstairs by myself.
This man
But yeah,
wakes me up out of a sleep to tell me that someone's breaking into his house. I panic, grab my what's a YouTube safe word? Necessary tool to handle the situation, and there's nobody
blocked.
there.
Shut up.
Thankfully, there's nobody there.
No, like
Thank you.
but yeah, that happened. And then there's one that Kelsey had. And if I fuck up any parts, let me know.
You fucked it up already.
So yeah, I know. We lived in the apartments and we had a neighbor from across from us, right? We lived at Polar Run Apartments, and these were like kind of scary, like shady apartments.
Sure.
Like you had like a lot of like people who were like addicted to drugs and you know having like overdoses and shit, and like the cops and ambulance had to come. But so she was home alone, like Nana was. Nana wasn't even there, was she? No, it was just Kelsey, and she was a single mom. And she came over and she like knocked on the door, crying and like freaking the fuck out. And wasn't she like standing in the door? Like her door?
Standing in the shadow. Yeah.
Of her door. Yeah. So she like backed up and like got in like her doorway, and she was like crying and hyperventilating. And she could barely see her. Kelsey could when she opened the door after she knocked. It's like she knocked and she like jumped back and like hid in her door. Because this is like right next to each other. And Kelsey's like, you know what my apartments look like. And Kelsey has the door open and she's like, are you good? And she's like, can you help me put my baby down? And she's freaking out, saying that the baby won't stop crying. And there's no fucking baby crying. And she's just standing there, like crying in the like a shadow, telling Kelsey to come inside and help her put the baby down. It's crying. And Kelsey was sick at the time. That's why she was at home. Yeah, and she was like, I can't. I wouldn't feel good. I'm sick. Yeah. 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 Come to find out, though, wasn't this the case? She had the baby taken away like weeks before from CPS because she had postpartum. Yeah.
So what?
She didn't have the baby.
What freaks me out? Wait, she didn't have the baby in general, or it just got taken away?
It got taken away before. Like she was asking Kelsey to help put it down, and the baby's gone.
So what
no
makes
baby.
me think is like she's obviously mentally unstable, right?
Yeah.
What would she have done? Like realistically speaking, right? She walks in there and she's like, "Okay, let me see the child." Then what? Does she pull a fucking knife on her or lock the door? Like, what the fuck, dude? That's creepy. I don't even think you told me that. That's wild.
No, Kelsey, it was, I mean, like, I just got permission to tell Kelsey's story, but yeah, she told me that, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then, like, when this chick moved out, she was, like, blaring her music and shit, and, like, throwing shit in the back, and yelling at people, calling them pieces of shit, and, like, this was, like, during the day, so I wasn't, like, scared of her, but, like, I was just, like, looking at her, like, and, like, the apartment people came and was like, we're gonna have to call the cops, and she's like, fuck it, call the motherfucking cops. But, yeah, she was, like, I think she was, like, on something that night, and was, like,
Oh, you think?
straight up just gonna murder Kelsey. So. Fucking.
Ooh, excuse me.
Thank you.
I don't have any more horror stories.
I mean, we never talked about my time on Paranormal, and that's how I got about.
Completely. Okay, dog. What is the point of us having notes if we just skip past half of them?
I mean, we go off on tangents. That's the point of a podcast,
That is true.
you know.
That is true.
But I wanted to talk about it because, like, I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But it's like
if you go deep, I'll go deep with you.
Well, I was just kind of want to talk about it because it spawned my obsession with whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police.
Whoop whoop. That's the sound of the beast. Give me like 2.5 seconds intermission break.
Okay.
I just want to be nosy. Hold on. You know, because I'm.
How are we all doing tonight? What is that wind sound? Really?
Okay, real fast. You remember when you said that you heard like somebody screaming bloody murder when you tried leaving my apartment like a month ago?
Yeah, that shit was scary as fuck. It sounded like someone, she was screaming, help me.
Yeah. The police officer is over there, and he doesn't have a car pulled over. He just got his lights on. Ugh, excuse me.
Maybe he found a body.
Dog. What if?
Could you imagine if I was hearing someone get murdered that day?
And you didn't stop
That's
it.
not a scary thing. I said that to Kelsey, and Kelsey was like, they're fine. So I'm putting the guilt on her,
No.
not me.
I
I was
don't
like,
care
that
who
person
I
is
hear
screaming,
screaming. If it's not
"Help me!"
Jessica or my friends, sorry, I'm out.
Get out of here. Get out of here. But no, back to what I was talking about paranormal. I would browse that board all the time. Yeah, Brandon, you people keep interrupting me talking about this. I swear to God, break it the fuck out. I'm on my podcast. If you want to watch it, go watch it. Be our fifth viewer.
Yeah, fuck off, Brandon.
Yeah, fuck off, Brandon.
I'm just kidding. I
So
love you, Brandon.
anyway, so I would browse X all the time. That's what it's called. It was a 4chan board and talk about paranormal stuff. And this is where I developed my obsession with something called a skinwalker. So, do you know what a skinwalker is, Dallas? Or do you want me to explain?
I think I do. I mean, I know that there's skinwalkers in Supernatural, but I don't necessarily know if it's the same thing. So go ahead and explain it.
So a skinwalker, as far as I know, it's a Native American, like, I don't know if it's a demon or creature or whatever. Denver, get the fuck out of here. Go. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, a skinwalker is essentially like a Native American like creature or demon that
I'm listening.
no, I know you're listening, but this has distracted you. Watch some fucking cop fight a murdered girl.
Sorry. I'm trying to be professional here.
But so Skinwalker, go, dude. Go. I don't want you. You smell. You stinky. Go, buddy.
I feel so bad for you. I got my ADHD and I'm just like not paying attention.
No, I'm like, I my ADHD's like kicking it overdrive too. It's a Native American creature that essentially finds somebody, abducts them, takes their form, right, and shapeshifts and uses that form to lure more people to feed it, right? So it's a creature that normally is like kind of like a like gangly. Sometimes they're depicted as having like deer antlers, and they're like freaky looking, like humanoid esque creatures.
Yeah.
And they'll hear somebody like talking, and they'll like mimic it, right? So you'll be like sitting at your campsite, and it may have just gotten a kill like a couple hours ago from this one girl, and this one girl it killed, and she was saying like help me when it was killing it. Well, Skinwalker will walk and find your campsite and will mimic it and say help me just like the girl did, and you'd be like there's a girl out there that needs help, and it will take you and take your form and take your voice and take your screams and kill you and consume you, and will use your form to lure more people in. So like if your friend
That's fucking terrifying.
like you're camping like out in like the Mojave or something, like a lot of times it's like in Arizona and shit like that, which is freaky because Jeremy lives down there. There's skinwalkers in Arizona. That's where they're from. Is like Arizona,
buddy.
Nevada, Arizona, Nevada. It's a thing. I read like a lot of stories on them. So you'll be like camping out there, right? And some people would like a story I read was like a guy was what are you looking at?
I was messaging
Kelly?
Jeremy.
Oh, skinwalkers in AC, be safe.
I said
Jeremy.
there's skinwalkers in Arizona, Jeremy, be safe.
So like, I read a story on X about this one time where a guy was sitting there and he was camping with his friends. Now, a lot of times they're like fake, obviously, just like as if something like this really happened, would this person really be alive, or like, wouldn't he get like the authorities involved?
Sure.
Anyway, so the story he told, he's like he was out camping with his buddies, right? And they're like in like Death Valley or something like that. And they're just like out in BFE, out in the middle of like the fucking desert. And his buddy had to go take a piss. And
Uh-oh.
the thing was like saying hello in his buddy's voice, like after his buddy left.
His buddy was like, "Hello, who's there?"
Yeah, like he left and go pee, and went to go pee, and didn't come back for like 20 minutes. And the guy's like sitting around the campsite, and they just hear like this his buddy saying hello, 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 and it's his buddy's voice like replicated. And one of his friends was like apparently like a like Blackfoot tribe Indian, and he was like, "We got to get out of here, like we got to go right now." And he's like, but Jeff, or whatever the fuck his name was. And he's like, "That's not Jeff. Jeff's dead. We gotta go."
I think
And so they just
anytime
fucking
a
left.
Native American is like, "We need to skedaddle," you don't ask any
Yeah.
questions. You're like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, gotta go. But he is asking him later. He's like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, Jeff got taken by something called a skinwalker, and Jeff is dead." So
How do you explain that to the authorities, though, right? How do you explain that
Yeah.
to the cops? Because you just went camping with your friend. Now your friend is missing. How do you explain that to his family?
yeah. Then again, like I said, it's like that's why I think they're just stories,
Sure.
right? I mean, like I'm sure there's like missing people reports. Like I kind of think there's skinwalkers out there. I don't know. Like I don't mean to put like my tinfoil hat on. I think it'd be interesting if there were skinwalkers out there. It'd be scary, but like that sort of shit like interests me.
I cannot wait until we talk about conspiracies.
Oh, dude, I would love to talk.
That
about
will be like a 3-4 hour episode. I don't know how long you want episodes to be, but I'm prepared to talk. We can cut it in 2 parts too. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I would say hour and a half to 2.5
okay.
is like the cutoff.
Yeah, fuck him. We're gonna make like a 4-hour video of conspiracy.
I mean, we could just do a 2-parter.
Don't tell me what to do.
Like, I wouldn't say like end it. We'll just like
Don't tell me
do
what
like
to
a
do.
4-hour live stream.
Don't tell me what
And
to
then
do.
we'll-
Sorry.
And if we did like the 4-hour live stream, we would do like be 2 hours, a 30-minute intermission, and then like 2 hours. But we'd have to start earlier.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we'd have to plan ahead. I'd have to let my wife know, because she just said when I said 4-hour live stream, she said 4-hour live stream. So we'd have to.
Jessica would kick my ass too.
It is what it is.
I think sometime in the future, obviously we hang out in person now, so it's not really like an issue for us. But I want to do an episode where we're together. I know we were kind of talking about this when we were storyboarding this whole thing.
Shit. Hold on. Actually. We're moving sometime in May. And if we get your guys' apartment complex, we could do podcasts together. And all I'd have to do is either walk to your house or you walk to mine. Or my apartment, your apartment.
Mhm.
Kelsey thinks your guys' apartment, because you already have like a setup, and I'm not going to have my own room. My shit's going to be set up in like the living room.
Sure.
And she said that would be kind of weird. Now, I mean, we could like figure it out.
So we're supposed to be getting a new couch. So here's how it's going to go. If we get a new couch first, I'm taking the old couch because it was my grandma's, and we're putting it in this room.
Yeah.
If we get a new bed first, I'm going to buy a futon and put the futon in here. Preferably the couch first.
Yeah.
If we can get this all set up, we can just chill on the couch, and we can put my blue snowball or your mic, honestly, whichever one, on the table. Or actually, I think I can hook it up to where both of our mics are going at the same time, and we can just chill on the couch and have like a conversation. And I can move my camera.
I mean, what I think I would want to do is I'd probably just like, you could have your blue snowball and I can bring mine and I can hold it like this.
Oh, you think you're cool because you can hold yours? Yeah,
You don't have a bottom piece?
I do, but
Why not? I'm saying we can disconnect it. And we
Look
can
at
have
that
like our
tape.
own little mics. We can have our own little mics. We talk like this, like
hold on.
or we could just have like
Gross? Who are you talking to?
we could just
Jessica.
have like a one of those bikes that like just like plant themselves, not like the blue mic, but like maybe we can get like a Yeti or like a Shure, like we can go half and it would be for the podcast
Man,
and it could stay at like your house.
I'm sad that Jeremy lost our old music mic. We used to make music, by the way, in case anybody didn't know. And
Yeah.
me and Jeremy went half and half on like a $250, $300 mic. And that mic was so good. It was a condenser. It had
It's like
an
over
audio
here throwing him
interface.
under the bus.
I didn't.
I'm sad my friend lost my mic that I
Okay.
went 50-50 on.
It wasn't Jeremy that lost the mic, but I'm still going to blame him because why would I take responsibility for that? You know? Why would I take responsibility for that? So, if it's not my fault and he's the other owner of the mic,
Yeah.
it's clearly his fault. That's how that works.
Well, shit. We're going off on a
We
tangent
are.
here.
We just made it past the 2-hour mark, so this is the perfect time. Do you have anything else you
Yeah.
want to add?
No, I just wanted to talk about Skinwalker for like 2.5 because I love Skinwalkers. But...
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and talk about
No,
it.
no, I'm saying like that. That's all I wanted to talk about a second
Oh.
ago. I'm good now.
So
Yeah.
he hates all of you guys, and he doesn't want to talk about skinwalkers anymore.
No, I just want to talk about it for a second. That's all.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you're watching this live, we will see you guys not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are watching this on YouTube, tell us what your favorite part of the podcast was.
Also, tell us your favorite horror movie or horror game.
Or don't listen to him.
Okay, fair enough.
With that being said, we are Idiots Talking Candidly. I'm Dallas. That's Farkabark.
Marcus.
And we will see you guys next time.
Yes. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in.
Do jazz hands. Everybody do jazz hands. I'm going to stop it now.